The woman who interrupted Elise Morgan's wedding arrived in the middle of the vows wearing blood on her collar and carrying a watch that counted backward. 1 second, Elise was standing beneath an arch of white roses, 30 years old, wrapped in an ivory silk gown, while nearly 200 guests watched her prepare to marry Daniel Mercer, the man everyone agreed was perfect for her. The next, every chandelier in the ballroom flickered blue, and a woman appeared at the end of the aisle as though someone had cut her out of another reality and dropped her there. She looked about 33, tall and elegant despite the torn black coat hanging from her shoulders, with very long dark red hair, sharp green eyes, and a small silver device glowing around her wrist. Security started toward her immediately. She ignored them. Her eyes found Elise's across the room, and the expression on her face was so painfully familiar that Elise forgot to breathe. "Don't marry him," the stranger said. Daniel tightened his hand around Elise's. "Who the hell are you?" The woman didn't even look at him. She kept staring at Elise. "My name is Mara Voss." Her voice broke slightly. "And 14 years from now, she's my wife." The ballroom erupted. Elise's mother gasped. Daniel demanded that security remove her, and somebody in the second row actually started filming. But Mara raised the silver device on her wrist and pressed one button. Everything stopped. Champagne hung suspended in a falling glass. A rose petal froze inches above the carpet. Daniel stood motionless beside Elise, his mouth caught halfway through an angry word. Only Elise and Mara remained able to move. Elise stared around the frozen ballroom and then back at the impossible woman walking toward her. "You have 30 seconds before I start screaming." "You screamed the first time, too." Mara stopped several feet away. Up close, Elise could see exhaustion beneath those green eyes and a thin scar crossing Mara's eyebrow. "I'm from 2040. You marry Daniel today. You stay with him for 7 years because leaving feels more frightening than admitting you made a mistake. Then you meet me." Elise folded her arms over the lace bodice of her dress. "Convenient. At a train station in Prague. You spill coffee on my white coat and tell me it improves it." Elise's stomach dropped. That sounded exactly like something she would say. Mara continued, softer now. "You hate pears. You sleep with one foot outside the blanket. When you're nervous, you press your thumbnail into the side of your index finger." Elise immediately stopped doing exactly that. "Why come back?" Elise whispered. Mara looked toward Daniel's frozen figure. "Because you lose 14 years trying to become the woman everyone else expects." Her expression tightened. "And because 3 months ago, in my time, you died." Elise went cold. Mara explained quickly. An accident involving an experimental transit system, the technology that had allowed her to make this single jump backward. She could not prevent the accident directly without causing a paradox, but she believed changing Elise's life early enough might erase the path leading to it. "So your plan was to crash my wedding and announce we're married?" Elise asked. "It was better in my head." "Was it?" "No." For the first time, Mara smiled, tired and crooked, and something uncomfortable moved through Elise's chest. She had never seen that smile before, yet some impossible part of her seemed to recognize it. Time resumed before Elise could ask anything else. Chaos returned in a single explosion of noise, but Elise did not finish the wedding. She stepped away from Daniel, ignored her mother's horrified expression, lifted the front of her gown, and followed Mara through a service corridor while security shouted behind them. They escaped into an empty hotel suite upstairs, where Mara locked the door and leaned against it, breathing hard. Elise stood in the middle of the room in her wedding dress and stared at her supposed future wife. "Prove it." Mara removed something from inside her coat, a small transparent rectangle. A photograph appeared above it in pale blue light. Elise saw herself older, laughing on a sunlit balcony with Mara's arms wrapped around her from behind. Another image showed them cooking. Another showed Elise asleep against Mara's shoulder on a train. Then came a photograph of 2 women dressed in white, forehead to forehead beneath an enormous tree. Elise's throat tightened. "Our wedding," Mara whispered. "You cried before I did." "I don't cry at weddings." "You cried at ours," 3 documentaries and an advertisement involving an elderly dog. Elise gave her a wounded look. Future me has terrible emotional discipline. Future you is magnificent. Mara reached to take the device back, and their fingers touched. Both women froze. Mara pulled away immediately as if the contact hurt. Elise noticed. What was that? Nothing. Mara? The future woman looked toward the window. I promised myself I wouldn't touch you. Elise's pulse quickened. Why? Mara laughed once without humor. Because I remember 14 years of touching you, and you don't remember any of it. That silenced Elise. Mara's voice softened. Your first kiss with me happened after you already knew me for 6 months. You chose it. I'm not stealing that choice just because I miss you. The restraint in those words affected Elise more than any dramatic declaration could have. She moved closer. Mara moved backward. Elise. You said we were married. We are, were, will be. Time grammar is awful. Elise almost smiled. And you loved me? Mara finally looked at her. More than I knew how to survive losing. Elise stopped inches away. Show me how you used to kiss me. Mara's breath caught. That is a spectacularly dangerous sentence. I'm serious. You don't owe me affection because some future version of you loved me. I know. Elise reached for Mara's hand and deliberately placed it against her own waist, over the smooth ivory silk. Mara's fingers flexed once, but otherwise remained perfectly still. This is me choosing. Mara searched her face for several seconds. If you change your mind? Elise kissed her. Mara made a sound that was almost a gasp. She did not immediately take control. Instead, her hand trembled against Elise's waist, while Elise explored the kiss curiously, slowly, trying to reconcile the stranger in front of her with the woman smiling in those impossible photographs. Then Elise drew back barely an inch. Mara's eyes remained closed. That bad? Elise whispered. Mara laughed shakily. You have no idea how many years I've wanted one more first kiss with you. When her eyes opened, Elise kissed her again. This time Mara responded. Not with urgency, but with devastating familiarity. She brushed one kiss against Elise's upper lip, another against the corner of her mouth, then paused just long enough for Elise to become impatient before meeting her properly. Elise's fingers slid beneath Mara's long, dark red hair and found the nape of her neck. Mara's other hand came up, not to hold Elise's face, but to trace her thumb lightly along the pulse in Elise's wrist. You always did that, Mara murmured. Did what? Your pulse gets faster before you admit you want another kiss. Elise felt it betray her beneath Mara's fingertip. Traitor. Mara smiled. I missed that too. Elise turned them unexpectedly, guiding Mara backward until the future woman's shoulders touched the tall window overlooking the city. Surprise flashed through Mara's green eyes. Did future me do this? Elise asked, frequently. Good taste. She kissed Mara's jaw instead of her mouth, then slowly beneath it, discovering that the seemingly fearless time traveler was considerably less composed when Elise's lips reached the sensitive place below her ear. Mara inhaled sharply and caught Elise gently by the hips. That, Mara whispered, you absolutely learned in the future. Maybe I'm a natural. Elise kissed the same place again simply because she liked how Mara's fingers tightened against the silk of her wedding dress. Mara turned her face and caught Elise's mouth in a warmer kiss, laughing softly when Elise tugged at the lapels of her torn black coat to pull her closer. The kiss deepened until Elise forgot about Daniel downstairs, the frozen ballroom, and the fact that technically she was kissing someone she had not met until 40 minutes ago. Then Mara's wrist device screamed. A red number appeared across its surface. Elise pulled back. What is that? Mara's expression changed completely. The amount of time I have left. The warmth vanished from Elise's body. Before what? Before the timeline pulls me back. No. The answer came from Elise before she had time to understand why it hurt so much. Mara touched her cheek, this time allowing herself the tenderness she had been resisting. You don't remember me yet. Stop saying that like it makes this easier. It has to. Why? Elise demanded. Because if this works, you'll live differently. Maybe we never meet. Maybe you marry someone else. Maybe you're happy without me. Elise stared at her. And you crossed 14 years just to give me the chance to forget you? Mara's eyes glistened. That's what loving you looks like. The timer reached 3 minutes. Elise grabbed Mara's coat and kissed her again. There was nothing careful about this one. Mara's arms came around her immediately, gathering her close as Elise pressed into the kiss, angry at time itself. Mara kissed her forehead, her cheek, then her mouth again, as if trying to leave behind enough small memories to survive being erased. Elise held Mara's face between both hands. Find me. What? If the future changes, find me anyway. Elise, Prague, train station, whatever it takes. Elise kissed her once, brief and fierce. Find me before 14 years. Mara's smile trembled. One condition. What? Next time, Mara whispered, touching her forehead to Elise's. You kiss me first. The timer reached 10 seconds. Elise held her tighter. At 3 seconds, Mara kissed the inside of Elise's wrist, directly over her racing pulse. At 1, she whispered, There you are. Blue light swallowed her, and Elise was suddenly alone in the hotel suite, still wearing a wedding dress, still tasting peppermint on her lips, while a small silver object fell onto the carpet where Mara had been standing. Its screen flickered once. Prague Central Station, 11 October 2026, 8:17 p.m.